She had everything the world told her to want: beauty, fame, and a glamorous career that millions envied. But beneath the flashing cameras and runway lights, something was missing. This is the incredible story of how a successful model walked away from it all and found something far more valuable. What happened next will change the way you see faith forever. Maria Esther Roman grew up in a tight-knit Puerto Rican family in New York City, where the rhythm of salsa music filled the streets and the aroma of her mother's cooking welcomed neighbors into their modest home. From an early age, Maria possessed something that made people turn their heads: a striking beauty that seemed almost otherworldly. Her dark eyes held depth beyond her years, and her natural grace made even simple movements appear elegant. Her parents had immigrated to America, seeking better opportunities, working multiple jobs to provide for their children. They raised Maria in the Catholic faith, taking her to church every Sunday and teaching her to pray before meals. Religion was woven into the fabric of their family life, yet for Maria, it remained more tradition than conviction. She went through the motions, reciting prayers she had memorized without truly understanding the deeper spiritual connection they were meant to foster. At 14, while shopping with her mother in Manhattan, a talent scout approached them. The woman handed Maria's mother a business card, explaining that Maria had the potential for a successful modeling career. Her mother was hesitant, protective of her daughter's innocence, but Maria's eyes sparkled with excitement at the possibility of something extraordinary. Within months, Maria signed with a reputable agency. Her career took off faster than anyone anticipated. By 16, she was walking runways for established designers. At 18, her face graced magazine covers. The world that had seemed so ordinary suddenly transformed into something magical. Fashion shows in Paris, photo shoots in exotic locations, exclusive parties where celebrities mingled freely. Maria loved every aspect of it. She thrived on being the center of attention, the competition with other models pushing her to perfect her craft. The glamour, the makeup transformations, the beautiful clothes. It all felt like living in a dream. Financially, success came quickly. Maria could afford luxuries her parents had never imagined, and she took pride in helping them, paying off their mortgage and ensuring they could finally retire comfortably. Yet as the years passed and her career reached greater heights, something unexpected began to happen. Standing backstage at fashion shows, surrounded by the chaos of makeup artists and stylists, Maria would sometimes pause and feel a strange emptiness wash over her. In quiet hotel rooms after glamorous events, she would stare at her reflection and wonder who was really looking back at her. The face in the mirror was the one the world celebrated, but it felt increasingly disconnected from who she truly was inside. The superficiality of the industry began to weigh on her. Conversations rarely went deeper than appearances, diets, or gossip. Relationships felt transactional. Success was measured in bookings and Instagram followers, yet none of it filled the growing void within her soul. Maria found herself asking questions she had never considered before. What was the purpose of all this? When the cameras stopped flashing and the crowds dispersed, who was she really? Was this truly all life had to offer? These questions intensified during her college years. Despite her modeling success, Maria had enrolled in university, determined to prove she was more than just a pretty face. It was there, at age 20, that her life would change forever. Maria met several Muslim students in her classes. She had heard of Islam before, but knew virtually nothing about it beyond what she saw in news headlines, which painted a picture that bore little resemblance to the kind, thoughtful individuals she now encountered. These students carried themselves with a calm dignity that intrigued her. They were focused, disciplined, and seemed to possess an inner peace that contrasted sharply with the anxiety and competition that dominated her modeling world. Curiosity sparked within Maria. She began asking questions, tentatively at first, about their beliefs and practices. What did they actually believe? Why did they pray 5 times daily? What did Islam teach about life's purpose? Her Muslim friends welcomed her questions with patience and warmth, never pressuring her, but simply sharing their understanding with genuine care. The more Maria learned, the more fascinated she became. The concept of submitting to one God resonated with something deep inside her. The idea that life had purpose beyond material success, that human beings were created for something greater than themselves, awakened a hunger in her soul she hadn't known existed. Islam's emphasis on justice, compassion, and personal accountability appealed to her sense of right and wrong. She began reading about Islamic teachings during breaks between photo shoots, studying the Quran's translation while traveling to modeling assignments. The more she discovered, the more the pieces of a puzzle she didn't know she was solving began falling into place. The emptiness that had haunted her started to make sense. It was a spiritual void that no amount of worldly success could fill. What struck Maria most powerfully was Islam's message of equality before God. In the modeling industry, everything was about external appearance, hierarchy, and status. Islam taught that true worth came from character, from faith, from how one treated others and served God. The most beautiful and the most ordinary were equal in Allah's sight. This revolutionary idea challenged everything Maria's career had taught her about value and significance. After just 4 months of study and reflection, Maria made her decision. In a small gathering of her Muslim friends, she pronounced the Shahada, the declaration of faith. "I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger." The words felt simultaneously monumental and natural, as though she was finally acknowledging a truth her heart had recognized all along. The moment was filled with tears, hers and those of the friends who had guided her journey. Maria felt something shift inside her, as if a weight she had carried for years suddenly lifted. For the first time in longer than she could remember, she felt completely at peace. But with that peace came challenges she hadn't fully anticipated. Embracing Islam meant more than just a change of belief. It required a transformation of her entire lifestyle. The world of modeling that had defined her identity suddenly conflicted with her new values. The revealing clothing, the male-female dynamics on shoots, the parties and social events that were part of the industry. All of it clashed with Islamic principles of modesty and propriety. Maria found herself at a crossroads. How could she reconcile the person she had been with the person she was becoming? The modeling world had known her one way for so long. Convincing people that she had fundamentally changed, that her priorities and values had shifted, seemed almost impossible. She worried they would see her conversion as a phase, a rebellion, or worse, that they wouldn't see her at all anymore. The decision to wear hijab was particularly daunting. In an industry that commodified female beauty and sexuality, covering her hair felt like professional suicide. Maria spent sleepless nights weighing her options. She could keep her faith private, maintain her career without visible changes, and avoid confrontation. Or she could live her Islam authentically, even if it cost her everything she had built. The turning point came during a fashion show in her graduation year. Standing in the dressing room wearing her graduation gown, Maria looked at herself and asked aloud, "What am I going to do after this? Who am I really?" The questions hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty about her future. She visited a close friend and poured out her confusion and anxiety. As Maria prepared to leave, her friend offered parting words that would echo in her mind forever. "Don't worry, Maria. Think about where you've been and where you're going. God will guide you to His light." The moment Maria opened the door to leave, brilliant sunlight flooded through, so bright it made her squint. In that instant, she interpreted it as a sign, an answer to her questions, a confirmation of the path she needed to take. Maria chose faith over fame. She began transitioning out of mainstream modeling, declining jobs that conflicted with her values. She started wearing hijab, knowing it would fundamentally change how the industry viewed her. The decision was terrifying, but it also felt liberating. For the first time, Maria was choosing something because it was right, not because it advanced her career or pleased others. Her parents' reaction was perhaps the most difficult part of her journey. When Maria told them she had converted to Islam and would be observing Islamic practices, they were shocked and confused. They couldn't understand why their daughter would abandon the faith they had raised her in for something so unfamiliar. Had they failed her somehow? Was this a rejection of their culture and values? The first months were tense. Her parents struggled to accept her decision, viewing it with suspicion and worry fueled partly by negative media portrayals of Islam. But Maria remained patient and respectful, understanding that they needed time to adjust. She continued to honor them, to help them, to show them love and gratitude for everything they had sacrificed for her. Gradually, something beautiful began to happen. Her parents saw that Islam hadn't changed Maria's love for them, it had deepened it. Islamic teachings about honoring parents resonated strongly with Maria, and she became even more attentive to their needs and more appreciative of their struggles as immigrants. Her mother noticed how seriously Maria took her faith, how the prayers structured her day with discipline, how fasting taught her self-control. Small gestures revealed their growing acceptance. Her mother began preparing special dishes for Maria when cooking pork, ensuring her daughter had something to eat. She would remind Maria to wear her hijab before guests arrived, protecting her daughter's religious practice. These acts of accommodation spoke volumes about their evolving understanding. Many of Maria's friends from the modeling world struggled to accept her transformation. Some tried to persuade her to return to her former lifestyle, suggesting her conversion was just a phase she would outgrow. Others simply drifted away, unable to relate to the person she had become. The party invitations stopped. The casual friendships built on superficial connections couldn't withstand such a fundamental change. But Maria weathered these challenges by turning to prayer, constantly asking Allah for strength and steadfastness. She found new friendships within the Muslim community, relationships built on shared values and mutual support. These connections proved deeper and more meaningful than anything she had experienced in her modeling career. Looking back on her decision, Maria felt no regrets whatsoever. The life she had been living before, the constant focus on appearance, the shallow relationships, the endless pursuit of validation, had left her feeling empty and exhausted. Islam brought her something infinitely more valuable: genuine peace. She had found purpose, direction, and a connection to something greater than herself. The transformation Islam worked in Maria's character was profound. The industry had encouraged arrogance and self-promotion, but Islam taught humility. Where once she might have boasted about her achievements, now she practiced gratitude and recognized all blessings as coming from Allah. The competitive edge that had driven her career softened into compassion for others. Most importantly, Maria felt her purity and dignity were protected in ways the modeling world never could have offered. She began using her experience to help others, particularly young Muslim women struggling to navigate Western culture while maintaining their faith. Maria spoke at Islamic centers and community events, sharing her story as proof that guidance could come from unexpected places and that no one was beyond Allah's mercy. Her journey from runway to prayer rug inspired many who face their own struggles balancing faith and societal pressures. Maria's story carries powerful lessons. First, true peace comes not from worldly success, but from spiritual connection. The fame, wealth, and admiration she received as a model couldn't fill the void in her soul. Only faith could do that. Second, guidance is available to those who sincerely seek it. Maria's openness to questioning, learning, and following truth wherever it led ultimately brought her to Islam. Third, transformative change requires courage. Maria risked everything she had built to live authentically according to her beliefs. Her experience also demonstrates Islam's power to improve character and behavior. The faith didn't diminish Maria, but elevated her, teaching her humility, gratitude, and genuine confidence that came from within rather than external validation. Islam made her a better daughter, a better friend, and a better person overall. For those searching for meaning, Maria's journey offers hope. No matter how far one has traveled down a particular path, it's never too late to change direction. No matter how empty life feels, there is a source of fulfillment available to those willing to seek it. And no matter what others think or say, living according to truth and faith brings a peace that surpasses all worldly achievements. Maria Esther Roman found that peace in Islam, and her life stands as testimony to its transformative power.